Huzzah! You are. Hello, ladies and gents. My mic's a bit far away. Hang on. There we go. How are you doing? Welcome to BBC Spews Live on the 14th of February. It's Valentine's Day. I hope you all got the cards written and the flowers sent if you've got a fussy wife. Me, because Mrs. Bootneck is as pragmatic as he is, he always gets her a thank you card because they're a quarter of the price of a Valentine's card. Right? It's the thought that counts. And when you're in a relationship like me, and we're not really equals, she basically does everything and all the admin and the cooking and the cleaning and balances the books and basically does everything that's useful. I think a thank you card is a lot more apt than a Valentine's card because that sounds, that's a relationship between equals. When you've essentially got a carer, it's like you're a bit special needs and you've got a carer. I think you should send them a thank you card rather than a Valentine's card. So works for me, works for her. It's cheaper and it makes more sense. It is a scam, yeah. Well, I mean, there is that. It is that. But being as I'm not a communist or a social justice warrior, I don't feel as if I could really put forth the argument. I mean, I'm up for any possible excuse to be cheap, but I don't feel I can put forward the argument that it's a capitalist invention to make money when I am a pretty devout capitalist. So I don't think that argument would wash. Much better to use mine because then you're flattering them at the same time, aren't you? It's like you're much better than me. So I don't feel like we're an equal in this relationship. I feel like it's basically like if Angelina Jolie gave her Down syndrome a wank, if she had like a competition to do a service to handicapped children and the teenage Downy won it and she pulled him off on national television. That's basically what's going on with my missus going out with me. So I think that the thank you card works. or alternatively, fuck Valentine's Day. You don't strike me as being that type of bloke, Blue Van Man. You burly, balding, working class men that drive vans. I instantly think Casanova. I think reciting a poem under a candle lit balcony is what I think. When I look at someone like Blue Van Man, I instantly think, I bet that silver-tongued devil has got the ladies dripping when he comes within 500 yards of them, such as his smooth talking charisma. So I'm going to do this. 23 people have sent me money in the last 3 months. That's not a lot, is it? Frankly, that pleases me as well. You wouldn't all be conservative, frugal people if I had generous followers, right? So give yourselves a pat on the back, you tight bastards, okay? Here's my list. I've got all my list on PayPal. I'm not showing you because of privacy concerns. That happened last time. Stevie O'Kane, John Keeley, Matt, Caroline, Kay. There's loads of them. So I'll just press this and I'll tell you who won, right? Let's get it done quick. Is it working? Yeah. Bam. 6. Who's that? Matt, Steve, Caroline, Steve. Catherine McLean sent me a £5. Well done. Is that Kate? It might be Kate. If it is, well done. She's been here ages. She deserves a prize. What have I dug out for you? You can have this picture of a fat, retarded bootneck. Oh no, that's a crocodile with weights that I drew for a football team for a mate of mine. And that is Kung Fu Bazooka Dinosaur Platoon. There's the top 3 on my sketch pad. You can have any of them, or you can ask me for something like the Lucky Dip. And do that, and I'll send you something. PM me if you don't want to do it on Twitter. MattyRM@gmail.com. MattyRM@gmail.com. If you can't guess what the R and the M stand for, you fucking probably can't even operate a telephone or a dictionary or a keyboard, right? So they're done. Yeah, Catherine McLean, whoever that is. If that's Kate, although that's with a C, is that a different? Maybe it's a different one. I don't know. Right. Should we do some news? Oh no! Before I go to the BBC today, I want to go onto Twitter because I've seen some funny shit on Twitter today. Did you call your BBC drawing? Yes, I did, Brian. I'm going to put it in the next video I make. I'd put it up here, but StreamYard, I don't think allows you to present just pictures. When you press present, you just get share the video, slides, extra camera, or a video file. I don't think you can just put a picture up, or else I would. The whole thing here, the BBC Spews and the Bootneck thing at the top, that's an overlay that I made. So I don't know how to do it. Maybe do it in overlay. Fuck knows. We'll have a look. We'll have a look later. So happy days. Well done, Catherine. Let's do some comical news. First things first. I know a lot of you guys refuse to go on Twitter because it's a fucking festering boil on the arse of humanity. But it really is good for argumentative people like me because that site is just a sewer full of mentally ill, raving fucking lunatics who post endless shite. And if you're a content creator like me, and you sometimes are lost for what to do, you can go on there for 10 minutes, and you fucking hell, you're deluged with it. You get waterboarded with pure fucking shit from some of the maddest people in the world. And what I do is, so it gives me something to talk about, I retweet them and make a comment. And then it reminds me of some amusing things to talk about. Here's a good one. British police are an absolute joke. Look at this video, right? This is just another example. I've said this loads of times, and the comment I made was in reference to this. Essentially, I pointed out that when you get racist blokes who, the tiny minority of people that actually are racist, which is vanishingly small in 2023, because people of my generation, certainly in the 90s, they spent our whole childhood making and winning an argument that it's not moral or ethical to make judgments about people purely off what they look like. They won that argument ages ago because it's obviously logical. So it's easy to win that argument, isn't it? And because of that reason, as I've said many times, I can certainly understand prejudice because it's a natural human response. But very, very few people are outright racist. Like, you don't see someone on the bus and instantly think he is a bad person because of his country of origin, right? You can be prejudiced, i.e., you think to yourself, that Albanian bloke is more likely to be a nefarious chap than a middle-class arsehole from the home counties born and raised in England, because the data suggests that. But that is a mathematically informed prejudice. And because of that, you know that you still have to treat the guy as an individual. You might just be a little bit more wary. That's all you might be. You might be like, instead of go and sit right next to him and say, "How you doing, mate?" like I would do if it was a pensioner from a leafy Sussex. You might just stay at the other end of the bus and think, yeah, he might be a bit dodgy. And ultimately, everybody's allowed to do that. You're allowed to be a little bit prejudiced. There's no law against it. Everybody is. I'm sure when a lot of black people see me and say, pasty white guy, I don't want to talk to him. He might be a bit of a prick. He might be racist. And if you even think that for half a second, you are being prejudiced. It's very normal to be prejudiced. A woman seeing a man and thinking, I'll cross the street rather than walk past him, because it's slightly higher chance that he might mug me. And doing so, if she wouldn't have done it if it was a woman, she's being prejudiced. It doesn't have anything to do with race or gender or anything. It's any form of preconceived bias is prejudice. So everybody has them, and it's fine to have them. It only crosses a line when you start aggressively behaving antagonistically towards people. Yeah, there's passive prejudice, like not going and sitting next to someone on the bus because you think there's a slightly higher chance of them being a weirdo, and that's fine. And that's all most things are. And as I've said before, the reason someone like Tony Romo You all know what I'm about by now. Because someone like Tony Romo talks a little bit, that isn't what pushes people over the edge. If you remember the guy that drove his car through a line outside a mosque. Oh, I said the M word. I didn't say anything bad, Susan. Please, no. Not in the face. I didn't say anything bad. The bloke who drove his car through the Golden Bell End Church line, right? If you can remember that, the reason he did it was because he just watched the BBC documentary about it, about the gangs. I can't even say the other G. If I say the word before gangs, they'll strike me. I'm telling you, Suza is on my fucking gonads like white on rice. Pretty soon, I'm just going to have to talk in sign language because everything's flagged. You can't airstrip one. You can't say. You can't say the buildings of worship with the big gold bell ends on top. You can't say the name of the religion. You can't talk about Mighty Mo. You know who Mighty Mo is, don't you? The little illiterate epileptic sexual deviant who founded the fucking the religion of many, many pieces. You can't name drop any of them, so you just got to come up with constant ludicrous euphemisms and hope that your audience understands what the fuck you're talking about. But the reason the bloke did that is because he saw the documentary that the BBC made about the gangs that diddled the band, right? And nobody would say the reason he did that is because of the BBC. It's the BBC's fault that he drove through all those people. No, because that's not logical, is it? But like everything these woke, degenerate, sex pest, commie, pill poppers say, it's not logical. Because if you say it's not the BBC's fault, it's Tony Romo's fault, then they go, yeah, he's made this hate. He's created this hate, like Paul fucking Daniels pulling out of a hat. And that's what's making people hate. It's so irrevocably dense and fucking infantile and stupid. It hurts my head even talking about it. In fact, I need to wet my whistle because I thrashed myself in the gym about an hour ago and I'm a bit dehydrated. Shut up, Richard. I'll play it in a moment. The point I'm making is a good one. You can't blame the BBC for the bloke running people over. The root cause of all these problems, the root cause is the kiddie fiddling, right? Doesn't matter what the BBC makes a film about. Doesn't matter what Tony Romo says. The root cause of that incident was the kiddie fiddling, right? And when the British police incessantly hound, antagonise, and glaringly and hypocritically treat tens of millions of normal British people differently than they do woke activists, eventually one of them is going to lose their fucking rag and either flatten a load of these wanker protesters or try and pull a fucking Terminator and waltz through a police station with a fucking 12 gauge. And when that happens, it's not because of me talking about it. The root cause is the police treating one half of the fucking country different to everybody else. It is maddening. It drives you mad with rage and anger because it's hypocritical. It's inherently unfair. It's prejudiced. It's everything you can think of. And it will happen. It is inevitable. One day, someone's going to lose the fucking rag and either march to the police station with a 12 gauge, killing them and going, you horrible, evil, power mad, corrupt, hypocritical fucking snakes. Have both barrels, you cunt. Or they'll flatten a load of fucking protesters. And when it happens, it won't be because the Bootneck made some jokes about it on Twitter, will it? Won't be because of Tony Romo. It'll be because of the behaviour of the fucking authorities. Right? So there's my rant over. Now you can have the video, Mark. Now you can have the video. Right? Hopefully the sound works.
Fucking idiots. Go away, cunt.
If you didn't see it, essentially just walking through it slow, the protesters are blocking the roads. This guy loses his rag and pulls one of them out the way. And the copper, this is the most annoying part of it. That little scrawny, geggy Harry Potter with fucking bum fluff, fucking skinny dying rat who grabbed him looks like he'd have to fucking jog around the shower to get wet. The skinny dying rat. And that bloke allows him to manhandle him the way he does. Because look at him, he's bigger than him. The working class middle, and he'll have old man strength in him when he's like a middle-aged bloke. He's bigger than him, he's thicker set than him, and he allows the scrawny, geggy, Harry Potter-looking little fucking weasel to fucking just march him by the collars back and slam him against the wall. He only allows that to happen because he is a law-abiding citizen and he doesn't want to get jailed for sticking the loaf and breaking his NHS specs with his forehead, because that's what's coming. The Stasi. That is just so ultra. That is the worst spelling of the Stasi I've seen. Just so you know, that's it. Just so you know, because if you spell it like that on Twitter, some woke cunt will go, because they never engage the argument. I've seen it before. You make a typo and they go, yeah, actually, it's spelled TH. Because they haven't got an argument to make, so they try and pick you up on the grammar or the spelling. Just so you know, that's how you spell it. But that's exactly what happened there. That little scrawny fucking geggy jam jars jog around in the shower to get wet. Sergeant Major, have this man placed on double rations immediately. Fucking weasel. Frog marched him there because he allowed it. He allowed it. If he lost his rag, as he is entitled to do at this point, and just went, you grab by the collars, eh, son? Bosh! Have some of that, and then proceeded to fucking break dance on his face. He could have. And the day will come soon. I mean, because I'm a conservative person. I don't have a criminal record. I've never even had a point on my driving license. True story. You know, like in the movies, they go, he's never even had a parking ticket. I've never, ever had a parking ticket. I've never had a parking ticket. I've never had a point on my driving license. Because conservative people are inherently risk averse. I see a sign and I abide by it. So there's nobody been more pro-police than me for the last 25 years. But even I'm getting to the point where I feel like snapping. And the next time some hypocritical, lying, two-faced, Stasi motherfucker like that grabs me by the lapels, I will feel very inclined to not be as agreeable as I usually would be with the officers of the law, because the law is not being enforced equally or fairly or justly. And when you're in the right, you're in the fucking right. The law is now an ass. I have of respect for the law, or I had. Now I don't. Now I don't. And tens of millions of people are going to feel the same way. So very soon, one of these motherfuckers is going to get the good news. And when it happens, they'll go on the BBC and say, oh, it's Lawrence Fox's fault. Yeah. Lawrence Fox did this. Angry Bootneck did this. Paz or anyone you watch, Rotten Politics or We Got a Problem, they did this. If they weren't talking about this and showing you the videos, you wouldn't. This bloke would never have fucking waltzed through the police station with a chain gun while all the general public cheered and laughed. That would never have happened if it wasn't for them. No. Root cause analysis, my friends. The root cause of 10 million British people getting very, very, very angry with the authorities is hypocrisy, blind, naked partisanship, politically motivated arrests, and all of the corruption that goes along with it. People use the Stasi analogy because that is exactly how they behaved. The party can do as they please. The law is for fucking you. The law is for the woke to ignore and for you to obey. And if you don't obey it, you get fucking frog marched by the Gestapo. It's a joke. It's a joke. And someone will kick off. Mark my words today. There's nearly 70 million people in the UK now. Tens of millions of them have had enough of the police. Have had enough of the naked partisan games of the politically motivated coppers. They see Black Lives Matter getting treated with kid gloves, and then they see 30 coppers with riot shields smashing people's faces in when they say, please don't tear down the Winston Churchill statue. You can't treat the general public that way and expect them to have respect for the law. Respect my authority. We don't. We don't. And if you're a serving police officer, sorry, but we don't. And I don't. And I don't have a criminal record. I've obeyed the law for my entire life. But as of 2 or 3 years ago, you can't do it anymore. You can't do it anymore. In good conscience, you can't do it anymore. Simple, isn't it? Right? So I'm done talking about that. That's exactly what's going to happen. And when it happens, they'll blame people like me and Lawrence Fox. They'll go, the fucking BBC will say, oh, Mark Stein blamed for fucking bloke twatting a copper. No, the police are to blame. Because we do basic civics in high schools in England. We do basic civics. We know how it's supposed to work. And we learn about the fathers of the Enlightenment because we are proud of our forebears in the United Kingdom. Very proud. We're proud of reading about David Hume and John Locke and all these people who were instrumental in making a society that had respect for the law and a system in place for enabling people to live free. Because that's why you respect the law. It's the law that allows us to live. It's why I'm not an anarcho-capitalist, an ANCAP, right? Because the law guarantees and protects your freedoms when it's applied correctly. Because the law stops people from taking your shit off you or tyrannizing you. And that's why it's supposed to apply to the man at the very, very top, equally as to the man at the very, very bottom. And that's gone now. We don't have that anymore. We've got a biased, partisan, hypocritical, one law for you and a different one for us. Fucking Stasi, a politically motivated police force. The College of Policing wants fucking bulldozing. How long have sensible people been saying that? The College of Policing wants fucking bulldozing. It is basically a aggressive political organisation. And it wants fucking bulldozing. Or give it a few years and the general public will cheer when fucking a big Austrian in sunglasses drives his car through the front of the cunt and then waltzes through the corridors with a fucking samurai sword. That's what's going to happen. And when it happens, they'll blame me. Oh, fucking hell, Bootneck mentioned that once, didn't he? Bootneck mentioned a big Austrian bloke cleaving fucking skulls. It's his fault this happened. No, it's 10 years of you guys drunk with power, acting like the fucking law doesn't apply to you. That's what causes it. Anyway, so that's story number one I wanted to mention. It's not on the BBC, but who cares? Story number two. Look at this, right? Honest to God. How can I put this without sounding like I'm just being partisan? And I'm not. I do take humour because I'm not a fucking ideologue. I'm not a lunatic. I do take humour on a case-by-case basis. I've mentioned this before. One of my favourite comedians is Stuart Lee. And he's an absolute twat. Because I'm a normal bloke, I've always been able to separate the man from the art. Always. John Lennon, musical genius, absolute cunt. There's not many people who are a bigger cunt than John Lennon. The guy was a fucking toilet. Although, not his fault. Scouser. It's not his fault he was deadbeat dad, is it? It's basically he's a wanker. But Stuart Lee is a fantastic comedian. His gig in Scotland, when he did his Braveheart piece, look it up. It's some of the funniest comedy I've ever seen. Stuart Lee is an excellent comedian. He's dry, his timing's class, and his material's good. But he is a full-blown commie, so I don't like him. And so what I'm saying is, before you watch this, I'm telling you, I'm not judging her because she's a fucking woke, Hollywood, sex pest, degenerate, pill-popping fucking pervert, right? It's terrible. It's not even slightly funny. It's like the sort of bad comedy that you'd come up with if you were in primary school and they were asking you to do a funny play for the parents' evening, you know, like you're all 8. It's terrible, but it's also tragic. So watch this, and if you crack a smile even once, I'll be fucking astounded. A day in the life of a childless woman. Here we go.
Up at 6 a.m. I remember that I have no kids to take to school, so I take an edible, masturbate, and go back to sleep. I wake up at 12:30 p.m. and get ready for a busy day of doing whatever the I feel like. I put on my most impractical and stylish shoes since I won't be chasing a child around the grocery store. I go to my fave spot in Paris to grab a croissant. I do a meditation sesh on the plane since I have no screaming kids, allowing me all the time in the world to become enlightened. The weightlessness of my existence has granted me superhuman powers. I teleport myself back home. Then I get ready for a night out with whatever hot guy I met on Raya that morning. I call up a babysitter and tell her that I don't need her since I still don't have kids. Now it's time for a workout, so I hit Mount Everest for a quick climb. I invent a time machine, go back in time, and kill Hitler. Freeze, you bastard! It's amazing what you can do when you have this much free time. And that's a day in the life of a childless woman.
Right. So that was, I'm sure you'll all agree, that was painful, right? If you want to see some good left-wing comedy, have a look at Stuart Lee. That was painful. And by a craggy-faced fucking boiler. And I love the way she's like, oh, whatever hot guy wants to fuck tonight. It reminds me of, did anybody watch Jordan Peterson's chat with Louise Perry? You know, fascinating to learn that type of stuff. And she was talking about how essentially women, when everything's functioning correctly, when your brain is functioning correctly and you live in a society that makes fucking sense, women go through the ordinary cycle as they age. It's maiden, mother, matriarch. And you and I, anyone over the age of 30 remembers when this was basically normal. It's an inherited, realized truth that you got from living with your parents and your grandparents, right? Your mum, my mum had me when she was young, she went through the maiden thing, got knocked up when she was 24 or whatever. Then she becomes a mother, a young mother, gets a lot of satisfaction from that. And then she becomes the matriarch. And when you're older, you know, everyone's granny has a lot of fucking power. And they twat you over the head with a wooden spoon if you're pissing them off. My nanny used to knock the shite out of me and my brother. I've talked loads of times about it because she was old and she was looking after two boisterous northern boys. So she told me, Dad, they're too much for me. When I hit them, they just laugh at me. So he was like, use weapons. I think I've talked about this before. For those of you that are new, my mum died of cancer when I was like 9 or 10. So I was then raised. My nana took over the job. Right, she used to cook and clean and do all the things you need. So she raised us, my nana. And she used to knock the shite out of us. Like, you know, no one can say to me, oh yeah, women haven't got any authority. Older women have got the power. The matriarchs do run the household. And my nana used to twat us with all sorts. She stabbed my brother because she threw a steak knife across the room at him in a rag and it like stuck in his leg like she's a fucking ninja. She twatted him over the head with a jug when she accidentally walked in on him in the bath and nearly caved his fucking skull in. She loafed him with a hoe when she was in the backyard. Like, basically, my nana was a fucking lunatic. She used to just twat us with anything. She took it literally when he said weapons because she would she'd use blades against us. And that's the normal thing people do. And now Madonna is the best example. But I saw this like a couple of hours ago, and the first thing it made me think of was Louise Perry's conversation because Mumra, the ever-living here, the craggy-faced fucking reptile, is desperately trying to throw out the natural order of things, and it's linked to the political opinions of them, isn't it? Because they want to expel the natural order. They don't want to be beholden to the vagaries of aging like normal people. So they try to deny the reality that they're living in and say, oh yeah, you can just go and fuck hot guys. Listen, Craggy, how old is she? In fact, let me have a quick Google. How old is she? She fucking looks rough. Chelsea Handler. 46. She's only 40. She's only 4 years older than me. Christ almighty. What a fucking boiler. Look how craggy her face is when look at her there. It's like me fucking nana with a blonde wig on. So instead of just doing what you're supposed to do and growing old gracefully, she's pretending that it's brilliant to deny reality and do things like this. Look, hot guy, and if you look close at the photo, looks like he's about 25. And she's like, yeah, that's brilliant, that. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. If you're in your late 40s and you think it's cool to jet set around the world and hook up with young 20-something men and get gorilla fucked up against a fucking wall in an alley, and you think that's a good thing, you're mentally ill. The normal way to live your life is, again, the received wisdom that we've arrived at from centuries of experience. Everyone forgives you for being young and daft when you're 20. You're out on the piss all the time, casual sex, whatever. And you tell you young people, yeah, you think this is good, but you'll grow out of it. It's not. And you'll regret a lot of the things you do when you're in your early 20s. That's normal received wisdom that even people that are my age, which I like to think I'm not particularly old, which even people at my age, we go, oh, yeah. I fucked things up when I was young. I should have listened to my dad a bit more. And these fuckers are trying to deny reality and live as if they're 19 years old until they're fucking geriatrics. That is not the type of behavior that you should be getting up to when you're that age. And nothing positive comes from it. So not only was it tragically unfunny, it was almost kind of depressing as well, that they're pushing this stuff onto young people so that young lasses might forego the chance of happiness and getting married and having a family, just to chase whatever fucking, well, basically to end up chasing vicarious pleasure and having a fanny like a gutted fireplace and a craggy and crow's feet 2 inches deep, like that fucking rancid old slapper. So that is terrible. It's not just funny, it's irresponsible. You know, young people, good parents try to engender good, responsible actions in the children. And it's not going to help when famous twats intent on making everybody as miserable as they are. So, yeah, shit that, innit? What was the other one thing I wanted to do? Oh, God. Yeah, this is linked to what I'm talking about, right? So here's another fucking lunatic. He's another lunatic. Listen to this fucker. Gender non-confirming girl cries because her grandma won't call her Mike. Big Mike. The grandma's super nice about it. Writes her a personal card. Says she's always excited to see her, but she cries. Just again, I'm not trying to be a horrible bastard. You do, on some level, you have to pity these poor kids who have been so mal-educated by the teachers and society in general. Normally, it's just teachers and popular culture. Because as a parent, you can only do so much, can't you? You need help. And this is why we're in the trouble we're in. Because due to this long march through the institutions, the mainstream media, the popular culture, the actors, the singers, and the teachers and the higher education places are brainwashing the kids. And you have to push back as much as you possibly can. But it's difficult. And as a result of this fucking lass has obviously got a loving family. And look what they've done to her. So listen to her.
Hi. So recently I texted my parents because I'm going to go home for Christmas. And I said, hey, do you mind calling me Mike when I come back for Christmas? And then...
Why? Like, the weirdest thing about all of this is still nobody that I've ever asked has managed to give me a good reason why. It's so odd. It seems like even in all the chats that go on YouTube, all the stuff I see on Twitter, all the news and the media, nobody ever just says, yeah, but why? Why? If you say, I prefer to be referred to as insect self or they have to just invent noises now, don't they? I don't like she. Will you call me like fucking Welsh? I think that's how the Welsh say she. Why though? Could the nana just say, yeah, but why? Why do you need that? Nobody really needs the pronouns they get, do they? Like if we had a meeting in the pub and a few of the chat came in and they were like, all right, bootneck. And I said, actually, I don't like that when I'm in person. I prefer the term Matt. I prefer it if you call me that. But everybody just ignores me and calls me bootneck all night. Who cares? Like, all right, fuck it. You could call me Sarah all night. It wouldn't upset me. So what I want to know is why? If it's not just about attention, like Douglas Murray says, the look at me people, when they say V, Vim and Ver, why? You can call me V, Vim and Ver all night long. I wouldn't give a monkey's fuck. Why do you want me to call you V, Vim and Ver? Why? Who told you those words? Where did you first hear the words? And why would you feel better to be called Vim than just him? Tell me why. Give me one good reason why it makes you feel better, and I'll call you it. Are you going to make a point, or do you just want to be called Frank? Because we can do either, right? Doesn't bother me. This is what I'm saying. I don't understand it. And if anyone can tell me genuinely one good reason why you should call someone neo-pronouns, I'd love to know. Because nobody's ever just said, yeah, but why? And someone responded, because of this. I've never heard one. I've never heard a good answer. Anyway.
When I got home today, I got this letter from my grandma. And it is addressed to Miss Old Name. Not actually, but, you know, I don't want to say my real name on the internet. Dearest dead name. On this, our Blessed Mother's feast day, I am writing to tell you that I will not address you as Mike. My decision is probably not a surprise to you. Others may comply with your request. My anguish in your chosen name and what that means has to do with your eternal soul. Know that I love you more than words could ever possibly convey to you. No matter how you decide to identify yourself does not change my deep love for you, honey. Because of my concerns for your soul and your mental health, I am spending more time with Jesus in adoration. My cousin's last names are doing the same for you. Then she lists my 5 cousins that are below the age of 10 who are apparently offering up special personal sacrifices for me, who I didn't tell that I wanted to go by Mike. I didn't want to. I haven't talked with your God.
I didn't want to. Do you see what I'm talking about? It's just all in total bad faith. There's no real need for it. And it's just nonsense. It's a nonsense game that the commies are trying to get you to a tune they want you to dance to. And I'm so emotional about being called Mike that it visibly upsets me. However, my nana told the 2 cousins that I want to go by Mike, and I didn't want them to know. So it's a game then. It's a game then, right? It's a ridiculous, childish game. It's dead important that you call me Mike, but don't tell me cousins. Well, aren't they going to still call you Sarah then? Yeah. So why can't I do that? Oh, well, because I've just decided. Because I'm just plucking rules out my fucking big baggy ass. What do you see what I'm saying now? It's just, it's a form of infantile narcissism. If there was uniformity in the way these people behave, I could understand. But it's puerile narcissism, which is wholly illogical. You want to force your nana to call you Mike, but you don't want your nana to tell anybody else that she's calling you Mike. Your cousins, you want to keep calling you fucking Sarah. There's no logic to it. It's not uniform. There's no consistency. It's just gobbledygook. It's a game, and it's bollocks. And nothing they say will make it make sense to me.
Godmother and her family, but I'm sure they would do the same for you. Do you know how much you are cherished and loved? It would be a joy to see you and be with you during the coming Christmas, a celebration of our Lord's birth.
Fucking pathetic. So grow a pair. I mean, you probably want to fucking grow a pair, don't you, Mike? Probably. I bet you wishes she was packing like Mike, like Big Mike was. Gobbledygook. So this is what I'm talking. Chris Waddle. Yeah, I love that. The fucking mullet. They went out years ago, Mike. Mike, you've got a head full of cow shit. See, I'm happy to do it. I don't care about it. I'm happy to play along. Mike, you've got a head full of fucking cow shit, son. Apparently it is for real, this. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It makes no sense. Nothing they say or do makes sense. I just want consistency and logic, and I can't get it. And this is why I've told you many, many times. I'm a liberal person. I am. I've never misrepresented my political opinions. I don't tell lies. I'm a liberal person. I am. But they've forced me in the last 4 or 5 years to constantly side with the right because nothing the woke do makes sense. It's illogical. It's got a scattergun approach. It's 1 minute I want to go by Mike, but not you, then you, Mike, yeah, but not you, but then you. But hold on, if I don't get called Mike by you, then I'll cry. But if you call me Mike, fucking hell, it's the end of the world, you cunt. They're just crazy. And like I said, I feel like because liberal people are more like typically more open and they're typically happier to the more creative types, aren't they? Personality types. I bet you're a lot of the biggest people on YouTube and naturally liberal as well. I bet people like Salty Cracker inherently lean liberal, but because they're not brain dead, brainwashed ideologues. Basically, if you've got critical thinking, you can't not side with the conservatives at this point. Like, even if you're not conservative, and like I said, I never have been, I'm not religious. I've always chafed against being told what to do by people in positions of authority like that. I'm not religious. Very little of my politics is right wing, but I have to side with them because I'm a logic before all personality type. ENTP, logic, not feelings, logic. And if you're going to make me choose between people like fucking Mike Pence, who I laughed at. I used to laugh at people like Mike Pence because of this strange sort of over-the-top religiosity they have, where to me it seems illogical because they're like, if it says it in this book, I just have to do it and not think about it too much. The woke make people like him look eminently sensible because at least there's guidelines with what they're coming off. People like Mike Pence go off like tradition, centuries of tradition. And I might think it's a bit archaic and silly and they don't really think it through too much. But at least it's consistent. It's black and white and it's laid out for you. Don't do this, do this. Don't do this, do this. Wokeism is fucking all over the place. All over the place. It's like, oh yeah, well, when you're a trans, you've just got a brain in the wrong body. But when you're straight, oh no, you definitely can't have a brain in the wrong body. Nobody's really straight. Oh, we can all just go anywhere we want. Oh yeah, if someone black does this, they're not really racist. Or black people can't be racist. But then if 20 fucking black people kick a 10-year-old to death because they're white, that's definitely not racist. But if white people do, then it is racist. It's fucking gobbledygook. Every point they make, even down to this video, is inherently illogical. Oh, I need to be called Mike, but only by you, because if you call me Mike, then I'll be fucking upset. So don't tell anyone I want to be called Mike, but you've got to call me Mike, you cunt. If you can make sense out of anything these maniacs tell you, please let me know. I feel like I'm fucking main veining copium and crazy juice because none of it makes sense to me. They make it so you can't win. That's what I'm telling you. They make it so you can't win. The game is rigged. And the only thing to do when the game is rigged is not play the game. So I'm not going to. And this is what I'm telling you. So I'll vote for the most conservative option that there is. And then when they're finally back in power, if it ever happens, then I'll go back to voting for the liberal people. So we have nice balance in the world. But as it stands, I'll go fucking conquer deep with the conservative movement because they're the only ones that appear to have even a modicum of fucking sanity compared to these absolute psychopaths. Contradictory. Up is down, left is right. Fucking psychopaths. And everything they say is gobbledygook on purpose, so everybody's confused. Questions everything. Totally fucking off the tits. Even the whole debacle with Elon Musk really sickens me. The bloke voted Democrat for like 20 years. The bloke voted for Biden. He was on there the other day saying, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have voted for Biden. And now they're like, oh, yeah. Oh, you were sucking Trump's cock all along. You go, what do you mean he was sucking Trump's cock all along? He didn't vote for him. As I've said, it's like calling me a fucking vegan activist when I'm eating a chicken leg hanging out my ass. One in my mouth and one up my ass. Chicken leg. I love chicken legs so much. I've got one in both ends. Vegan, you cunt. That's how logical it is. The things the woke come out with. It's just nakedly contradictory. Every minute of every day. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So that's me. I'm an agnostic conservative. And I'm going to be for the foreseeable future because they're completely insane. Right. Anyway, I think that'll do you, right? Yeah, past 500 today. I think that's a new record, is it? Maybe, maybe not. Isn't it weird that when I did email and talk to a YouTube employee and had a conversation with them at length, and they denied the existence of shadow ban, which is insulting that they even claim it's not a thing when everybody in the world knows it's a thing. But isn't it weird how I suddenly doubled my traffic after a long conversation with a bloke denying that it ever happened? Weird that. I wonder if Elon Musk buying Twitter sort of put the frighteners on them all. Maybe that was it. Anyway, good news for me, innit? Good news for me. Right, ladies and gents, thanks for watching. I will tell Miss McLean to send me an email and I'll try and make a video at some point in the next few days. I've got to work longer hours. Bit of a debacle at work. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll do what I can this week. Worst case scenario, I'll be back again on Monday. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good week. Fucking keep taking your crazy pills. You're going to need them. See you later. Take it easy.